of late. Like, I wanted to believe in the Chargers, but their defense has been a little shoddy over the last few weeks. But they are favored tonight in Thursday night football. Vikings, Chargers. Chargers at home in this one. 3.5-point favorites. Total of 44.5. So, Jenks, when you first saw this game, what did you get from your initial read?
Well, my initial read is that I first of all, I'm not crazy about this game. I need to throw that out there. But I kind of like the Vikings. But then I have to trust Carson Wentz. I think that was my first thought was, hey, I like the Vikings. Oh, yeah, it's Carson Wentz. But also, I think the key in this game is going to be the Chargers defense or lack thereof. Like, this looked like a complete team early on. The Chargers were really good. And then they suffered injuries. The Joe Alt injury was massive after losing Rashawn Slater. But also, I think Joe Alt's going to play tonight. That's going to be a boon for that Chargers offense. He's going to try and go. It looks like he will. So that's huge for them. But the defense has started to fall apart. Over the past 3 weeks, they've given up at least 27 points in each and every game. Now they have one of the worst rushing defenses in the National Football League. So I feel like if you're the Vikings, you don't want the football in the hands of Carson Wentz. But it doesn't matter because they can hand it off to Jordan Mason and have success on the ground because the Chargers have not played well defensively over the past month or so. And I think if you're getting the hook here, that's the key. So I'm going to be on the Vikings.
I think the bottom line for me is that if there's ever a spot for Carson Wentz to succeed, this is it. Like you mentioned, the Chargers defense has not been great, giving up at least 27 points in each of their last 3 games. And one of those games was to the Dolphins. So it's not like they've been playing a murderer's row of great offenses. Like, okay, you gave up 38 to the Colts. We'll let that one slide. But it's a Chargers team that has had some major injuries. Like you said, though, I will say the good news is this. Joe Alt might be returning. Trey Pipkins might be returning. So that should help the passing game. So some of this depends on how much you believe in Justin Herbert and if he can will this team to a win. Because the defense is not going to be great. The run blocking for the Chargers has not been great in the recent stretch as well. And that's why you're seeing really high props when it comes to Justin Herbert and his passing numbers. Like, Jenks, we play a lot of passing props, or we at least look at them each and every week. 273 is really high. And so is 268 for Carson Wentz. So I'm looking at this total of 44.5, and I'm saying, okay, do we just not believe in these teams in the red zone? Because I think both these teams will have a good chance to score some points.
I think so, too. So I don't know how I feel about a total here, but maybe I lean to the over. The Vikings had issues in the red zone last week, but also they were taking on the Eagles. So they're not going to have nearly as many problems, I think, with the Chargers. So when you're looking at passing totals that high for these two guys, Herbert I get because the Chargers have all sorts of injuries in the backfield, right? Their top 2 running backs are out. So the onus might be on Herbert to try and win this game for LA. But when you see Carson Wentz's number that high, then you think, what kind of game is this going to be? And he can, look, he's not terrible. So I need to reframe this, right? He's a very good backup quarterback. As far as backups go, you could do worse than a guy who started, for the Eagles early in his career and then kind of fell off a little bit. You could do worse, absolutely. But I do think when you see a total this high, when you're looking at his passing yardage prop, it makes me think this is not exactly how I think this game is going to go, or not what I initially thought, and maybe we'll be surprised tonight and we see a lot of points.
I just think, like, a lot of betting is like reading. Like, you can kind of tell what the odds makers think the game plan is going to be. So I think the odds makers saying, okay, Justin Herbert is going to have to take this team on his shoulders. So for me, I say maybe I don't want to play a side or a total. Maybe we will go to props, because if you think Justin Herbert's going to sling it, you look to the receivers maybe, because, the number on Justin Herbert is still pretty high, like 273.5. Like, that's a big number. Maybe we go to some of the top receivers. And I love a good target share king, and the guys that get all of the targets. Keenan Allen had 14 targets last week and 119 yards receiving on 11 catches. Ladd McConkey had 15 targets and 67 yards. I think what was missing last week for Ladd McConkey is that normally he hauls in like one long reception that kind of boosts his numbers. But I think if you want to play either of those receivers, I think those are good plays. Ladd McConkey, 56.5. I need to look up what Keenan Allen's is. Let's see. Receiving yards, 48.5. These seem really low.
I know.
Keenan Allen's averaging 62 yards per game. I feel like I got to go with Keenan Allen here.
I think do you worry a little bit that it's a little too low, where it's almost a trap? Like, it seems obvious, doesn't it? Like, he's going to crush this. I will say, though, if he's going to look for anyone, Justin Herbert, it's going to be Keenan Allen. And also, isn't it remarkable how Keenan Allen left and was okay, but then he comes back to L.A. and he plays for the Chargers, and all of a sudden he's Keenan Allen again? Like, for some reason, he just fits within that organization, has that great chemistry with Justin Herbert. I don't mind the number. It just kind of scares me that it's abnormally low.
I just don't understand where the disconnect is, where Justin Herbert's passing yard is 273. So you're like, okay, who are those yards going to? So I think, you look at the targets, because that is the best projector of like who's going to get the most opportunity. And Justin Herbert's somebody who relies heavily on those two guys. Like, again, Keenan Allen, 14 targets last game.
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey, 15 targets. And Gadsden had 9. And then Quentin Johnson had 6. So, like, there's a pretty big drop-off. So it doesn't seem to me like Justin Herbert is somebody who's going to, like, pass the ball around. Like, when you are somebody who needs to win games, and I'm not saying that the Chargers are desperate. Like, they're 4-3. But still, it's the NFL. This is a primetime game at home, and one that you have a good shot of winning. This is when you rely on the top dogs. Like, you're not relying on Trey Harris or, Will Dissly. I think if it's me, I'm relying on the guys that brought you there. And that is, Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen. Would not shock me if Ladd McConkey has a big game, but I do think both those guys are definitely worth a look.
Yeah. And also, I think when you look at a game like this, especially in primetime, you focus on the bigger names, right? And so I understand that the guys who aren't necessarily in the spotlight, sometimes you can find value on them because public bettors, casual bettors aren't rushing to the market to bet these lesser names. At the same time, though, the risk you run is that they're not going to be as consistent with their production because they aren't the stars. So that's kind of the trade-off there.
Yeah, and speaking of stars, I think Justin Jefferson's probably worth it. And I know people are like, what a square plane, Chelsa. But listen, when you have these backup quarterbacks come on, like, they know their job. Like, they're trying to get it to their number one as well. And Justin Jefferson has had quite a stretch. 79, 123, 126, 75, and 81 yards in his last 5 games. His receiving prop is 80.5 tonight. He's somebody who can go well over that. And if we think both these quarterbacks are piling up the passing yards, I'm betting on Justin Jefferson too.